taking 15 hours of class, directing the Campus Environmental Center at the University of Texas at Austin, fundraising for Texas and Louisiana frogs, and trying to get the SSC's fundraising committee off the ground. Again, I was exhausted. I needed something new in my life. I needed something to put everything in perspective and remind me why I was doing the work I was doing. Applying to go to Copenhagen with the SSC was almost instinctual, and luckily I was accepted. I couldn't believe that I was going to Copenhagen to show my public officials everything that I had to offer. I raised over $2,500 to send myself on this amazing new adventure that I was sure would recharge my soul and remind me how passionate I had once felt about the climate movement. I applied for my passport, bought my ridiculously expensive plane ticket, and packed my bags. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and it was so exciting.
Oh, was that your first time outside of the United States?
Once I arrived in Copenhagen, I attended COI 5, or Conference of Youth. I was blown away by all of the amazing people from around the world who had trekked all the way to Denmark. There were more people than the organizers ever expected. Over 2,000 young people from everywhere imaginable crammed into this tiny YMCA building in downtown Copenhagen to hear and be inspired by the stories being told around them, sometimes about places they had never dreamed of. COI 5 was so mind-blowingly amazing that I knew I was going to make a difference at COP15 and that we were going to get a comprehensive, fair, and binding climate agreement. The first day at the Bella Center, I walked around and took everything in. This space was so incredible. There were direct actions happening around every corner. There were so many organizations there to fight. There were climate catastrophe demonstrations like bronze statues of starving people displaced by climate change and lacking a stable food source. It was devastating, yet also moving that people were finally paying attention to occurrences that I knew would happen more and more frequently if we did not curb our emissions as an international community. After the first day, I realized I had been duped. These negotiators were not there to make real change. They were there to protect their country's interests and to find as many loopholes as possible in the best-looking agreement possible. These governments wanted to continue to extract and burn our limited resources unchecked and have their citizens believe that they were making a difference. I was so disheartened and confused that I was ready when we were told that non-governmental organizations were no longer allowed access into the Bella Center. This wasn't what I was looking for. This was not what I had in mind when I jumped on my transatlantic flight to go change the world. As you probably know, Obama also attended the Copenhagen climate negotiations. I remember watching Obama speak on television outside and looking around at my peers, my friends, and seeing tears streaming down their faces that were filled with utter fury. Everyone was so pissed. He came all the way over here to tell us that he was doing absolutely nothing. By the time it was over, I was so ready to go home, but I was in for a surprise. The train wreck that COP15 turned out to be culminated with a car wreck. I was crossing the street in London and was hit on my left side by a silver sedan. As I lay on the ground, I was so terrified. My whole body ached and I wasn't sure if I could move. My body felt as my mind did, broken. I went to the hospital in London on Christmas Eve and cried all night long. I didn't know how I was going to get home, but more importantly, I was seriously questioning what I wanted to do with my life. Could I take this kind of heart-wrenching pain year in and year out? Was I strong enough to fight back against these people who were destroying my future? It took me a long time to recover after returning home. My broken leg finally healed, my stitches came out, I could walk and run again, but my mind and my spirit were still shattered. After slipping into a depression and a feeling of helplessness, I wasn't sure how I could move forward. Then one day in Austin, it hailed in the middle of spring. It brought me back to being 7 years old when my mother told me that my uncle had passed away. He was afraid that he would be ostracized for being a gay man in rural Missouri infected with the HIV virus. He never went to the doctor, and the virus progressed extraordinarily fast. Sitting in Austin, listening to the hail, I realized that I had to be stronger in my fight than he was able to be in his. Of course, I could take anything that they wanted to throw at me. I could fight for those that could not fight for themselves, environmental issue or not. And I know that I'm strong enough to fight for my future and for the future of others, because if I can't fight for that, there is nothing else. I could do nothing better with my life. I realize now that I was looking to recharge and reinvigorate in the wrong place. I do not have to fly halfway around the world to find hope and passion. I only have to look at the people around me. working tirelessly with little personal payoff other than the knowledge that they are making a difference. This is where you come in. Even though you may not have been there physically with me in Copenhagen, I carried your love and support in my heart and mind. You experienced the excitement in the lead-up, the sadness in Copenhagen, and the feeling of hopelessness afterwards. Knowing that people are standing side by side with me throughout all of the hardships that I faced made me realize that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to stand alongside all of you who have sacrificed so much to fight for others. Being here together as Sprague makes the feelings I have from Copenhagen feel like relics from a distant past. We are building our movement, and we will go to Cancun stronger than ever. Through events like Sprague and Power Shift, we are training ourselves to fight back with everything that we have. And if the people standing up for dirty energy and soul-crushing oppression aren't scared yet, they definitely should be. We are an extremely powerful movement, but we must stand together. All of us are stronger together than we can ever hope to be individually. We can make the change that we demand. We are the strongest generation and the most inclusive generation. We can bring everyone into a sustainable future and make sure that no one is left behind to rely on dirty and limited energy. So I ask of you now to embrace this movement and give it what you can. All of us may not be able to attend Cancun, but we can stand together no matter where in the world we are. I hope that you will sign up to organize around COP16 in your community, to have petitions signed, letters written, and conversations happen. We can provide solidarity for those of us who are going to Cancun and a voice for those of us who are not. Thank you.